Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to get started here in just about 1 minute. 1 minute, we'll get started. All right, folks, we're going to get started. So if everybody will make their way over this way. All right. As everybody sits down and gets comfortable, stand back up and we'll say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, guys. Yeah, nobody did. All right, for any of our new members or new guests here, my name is John Ott. I am the president of Orlando Amateur Radio Club. I'm just going to go around real quick and introduce who's here. This is Michael Cawley, vice president and Hamcation chairman. Anna is our treasurer. Bob is our secretary. Dean is one of our directors. Ed is one of our directors. Trying to go through the crowd here. Look. Huh? And James is at the back table. He's talking to one of the individuals back there right now. There's also a director. Bob C., everybody knows, is on a vacation right now, coming back from being overseas. Be back this weekend. Ed is here. I got you, Ed. And Frank didn't make it yet tonight. So one of the Franks may still be here shortly. Any new members? Anybody join tonight? Welcome. Congratulations. Did you pass a test tonight? Congratulations. I usually have a report on the test session, but I forgot to get with Aaron before he left. So as everybody might know, we sit there and give out a membership on the first time that you take a test with OARC. We give you a membership. I was playing with the audio. Feedback. We give your first year membership is free with OARC. So when you pass a test with us or your first exam with us, we'll give you a free membership for a year. All right, Anna, Christmas dinner updates.
This is the last day to get tickets, so if you haven't gotten your tickets, Christmas is going to be the first Saturday. Christmas dinner is the first Saturday of December. It's going to be at the Knights of Columbus, and we're going to have lots of food and lots of desserts.
You got them? What you got?
We had 3 pass extra tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pass general and 4 pass technician.
Congratulations. I'm sorry?
One guy took all 3 tests and passed. Lewis, are you here?
0 to hero? Ed? Only missed 2 questions out of all those? Yeah. Wow. 0 to hero. Yeah. I bet he's watching his FCC database, waiting for that license to come in. Wow. Congratulations. It's really cool. Going back to Christmas dinner, I did send out a link. Anybody that wants to purchase their tickets yet, but not able to do it tonight, you still have time to do it. I sent out a link. You do it online. Anna will give you your tickets to you at the door. So you still have time to do that. So looking forward to seeing everybody. Again, that's at the Knights of Columbus on Cornelia, same place it's been for the past couple of years. All the information is in the newsletter that just went out Monday night. Shriners Tailgate. Ready for the Shriners? Want to come up?
It's finally here, Saturday, 8:30 to, well, when it fizzles out, usually about 11 o'clock. The new Shrine Center, it's near Apopka on Highway 436. Weather forecast looks good, so we're gonna have a good time this year, so come join us, please. There's flyers back on the table for anybody with full information on it and a little more detailed information on how to get there. See y'all. Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. We'll be there actually too this year. Coming up on, I'll give you another clue in on the December the 3rd, the same day as our Christmas party. For those that are interested, Ocala has a ham fest going on at Silver Springs Radio Club at First Christian Church. Information for that and the Tampa Bay Ham Fest coming up at the Strawberry Festival grounds December 9th and 10th. All can be found on the ARL website. All you have to do is go to ARL ARL.org/hamfest/search. That's a mouthful. So it's all up on the website. You can find out more information on all of those there. Michael, you ready to do a hamcation a bit? As he checks his email.
All right. Everybody hear me? Okay. So we just had a hamcation committee meeting. Actually, we have one coming up too. But at our last one, I can report that we probably have 6 to 7 new vendors right now coming in. That's never been to hamcation before, which is good. So going around to these other shows, advertising hamcation is paying off for us to get new vendors. Ticket sales are been good so far. RV's been good. Swaps, actually, there was a swaps that come in tonight. So y'all got some more coming your way. So far everything's been good there. We actually had a visit here at the fairgrounds before the meeting tonight to do a little walk around. Some improvements going on. One thing I can tell you that's in the works that I found out tonight, that all the buildings is getting new lighting. All of it might not be done before hamcation, but some of it will be, so you will notice it coming up in the future here. Also, they've redid a lot of the drainage out here to stop water issues, which is good. Like John said, we will be, hello. All right, let's try that again. Like John said, okay, it must have not like his name. All right, let's try this again. This one might be too loud for me. Let's try this again. Like John said, we will be at the Shriners Tailgate. I will be donating tickets to there. So you could have a free ticket if you come out and I guess you do like tickets for them. So come out and you could receive a free hamcation ticket. Also, we will be at the Tampa Bay Ham Fest, which isn't in Tampa Bay, it's in Plant City. We'll have a booth set up there also, selling stuff. So come out and see us there also. Don't forget to volunteer. Go on the website. Please volunteer. In the back of the room, I do have sheets back there that has, okay, it must just be me. In the back of the room, In the back, hello? Hello? Okay, let's try this. In the back, in the back of the room, there is sheets back there for what each position is for volunteering. Rick is actually holding it up right now back there. So if you're interested in any of the positions to volunteer, they are back there telling you what the positions are. And you just go on the website. If you work 4 hours, you do get a free Hamcation ticket. If you work 8 hours, you do get fed also. Also, you can donate your hours toward a nonprofit of your choice. And at the end of Hamcation, after all the profits and all are done, we do donate money toward that charity. That's all I have. Any questions? Yes. I knew you asked that. It is February 10th, 11th, and 12th. All right. But if you do volunteer, we start as early as that Monday through Sunday. So you can volunteer before the show, get your free ticket, then enjoy Hamcation for free. That's all I have.
Batteries. Red light's starting to flash. All right, might have to be a little bit quick night. All right, anybody, any other questions, Hamcation? All right, pretty much right now the website is up to date. We just ended the nominations for the awards for the Carol Perry Award and the Warden West Award that we'd be giving out. That ended last night. And the awards committee will be getting together and look for that announcement coming out sometime here in the near future. All right. Where is Jim Robar? There you are. Come on up.
Let's give it a try. About 10 years ago, maybe a little longer, we started trying to make awards for the folks that stayed all night during field day. And I don't remember how many there were then, but so we figured an owl would be kind of a cute thing to pass out, you know, like to look like a night owl. So at any rate, this thing is turned into, personally for me, turned into a monster. It probably took me a couple of weeks to make all these owls. Is there anybody here tonight that worked field day that stayed all night? Come on up. I don't care if you slept or whatever, if you were there all night. I made 23 and I got 3 people, so we're in good shape. But at any rate, the owls are, and if you can hold them up and just just reach in and grab what you want. But these are the owls. My son is a contractor and he has scrap pieces of cedar. I save them all the time. And there's a lot of bandsaw work and cutting and a little bit of drilling for the eyeballs. And it takes quite a while. So on my lucky day, I'm going to run out of wood. It's been quite a thing. So, but thank you guys. We've done this with Lamar's, but this year, of course, Lamar's and OARC worked together on field day. And I have no idea how we've done. I haven't heard anything yet, but yeah, usually at the end of the year, we'll find out. So, but thank you guys for working out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to try this microphone again. All right, and for those who, how many of you guys in the room have participated with field day ever before? Doesn't matter if it's with us or anybody else. Okay, how many of you guys have actually participated in winter field day? I know a couple of you guys have. All right. Living in Florida, winter field day is much more fun. Okay, a lot more fun. Summer field day, if you lived up north, a lot of fun. Not so much in Florida. All right. Winter field day comes up usually the last weekend of January. And this year we're going to be working with Lamar's on winter field day. Okay. Now it's not as big as summer field day. So what we're probably going to do is help them with a station, or if they just need manpower, we'll help with the manpower, getting people out there to help run the station for 24 hours. Okay. Okay. So once we get more information from Lamar's on what their needs are, we'll get that out to everybody on email. But I tell you, it's a lot of fun. We did it one year. We went out with Lamar's for a couple hours ourselves just to see what it was like, and it was a lot of fun. You don't sweat as much as you do in June, in January as you do in June. So it's usually a lot more fun. So if you're interested, watch for those emails that will be coming out soon, and volunteer and give them a hand. Put a couple hours on the radio if you can, or an hour or something of that nature. It'll help out tremendously. Jim, you want to come back up for a second? Hey, Dave.
If you didn't hear me when we first started, I thought it was okay. Any rate, if you just come in every year at field day, the people that stay all night, we've made up owls for. So your wife and yourself stayed. Pick out 2 owls. They're in the box for you. So, and these owls, every year we did them a little different. Some years I painted them blue. We did I don't know why I painted one it was all black, like a stealth owl. And when we did the winter ones, we painted them white. So there's all different colors. And when I did the blue ones, we had one lady stay, and I had to do a pink one. So it turned out pretty cool.
All right, cool. All right, that was Michael. Let me go around to the board real quick. After we do the board, we'll do the club updates, and then we'll take our break. And then afterwards, we'll have our presentation by Mr. Scott Roberts. Michael, did you have anything else? Okay, Anna, Dean, Bob, Ed, James, you good? Yes, I'm sorry. Maker's Fair. Maker's Fair is going on this weekend. I think it's Saturday, Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. If you've never been to Maker's Fair, it's very different, but it's a large event that's held here. A lot of things that that people made or built themselves or created themselves or grow themselves or whatever you want to say. It's going to be here this weekend. So it's a good event to come out to support.
And I can tell you, talking to Andy last month, the robots that they do here, this thing just does not like me. The robots that they do here is like the second largest in the country for their actual battle area. And they actually get the full-size battle bots like you see on TV here. So it's pretty cool to come check that out at least.
All right. Let me go around to clubs real quick. QCWA. Rich Cole.
Okay, I'm Ed Thralls. I'm the Vice President of QCWA, and our meeting is the second Thursday of the month at 1 o'clock at the, what they call it, Perkins Restaurant, about 1 block east of HRO, so we could visit them if we wanted to. It's on 434 in Winter Springs. If you've been licensed for 25 years ago, no matter what happened between now and then, you can still be a member of QCWA. Hope to see you there.
All right, let's go to Lamar's. Come on, Jim, back up here again. You should just stand up front.
Lamar's will meet tomorrow night at 7:30 at 400 North Edgemont, and that's in Winter Springs. It's right off of 434, and we are 1 block west of the police station. If you look it up, just to give you an idea where it's at. Yeah, yeah, near HRO if you've been up that way.
CERT Ham Radio Group. How about Clarkona CERT? CFRA, he's behind me.
Good evening, I'm Bob Nocero, W4KBW, President of the Central Florida Repeater Association. Our monthly meeting is the last Wednesday of the month at Perkins in Winter Park, not up there in Winter Springs. It's at 6 o'clock, the last Wednesday. We get there about 6. We have our little rag, chew, and eat. And at 7 o'clock, we have a very impromptu 5-10 minute meeting. Repeater is downtown. It's 443075. It's analog and fusion. Dues are $12 per year. And if you're husband and wife, both hams, it's $18 for the pair.
All right, the radio scouting.
All right, thank you, everyone. So we just completed our Jamboree on the air. We had 1,853 scouts on that particular weekend, and we've been doing JOTA-like events since September 24th, minus 1 weekend for Hurricane Ian. So far, they're totaling the numbers. It's between 6,000 and 10,000 scouts have been influenced with ham radio during those courses. So where they come into the camp and do all the different games and get to enjoy our nice little fox hunt. We gave out almost $700 in prizes to all the different scouts and all of them learned their name and they learned SOS. Our next big event will be Hamcation when we have 17 scouts going through and they're doing a new radio merit badge starting tonight.
Starts tonight. All right, Florida Week Signal. You're good, right? Rod, you're good? Okay. Florida Week Signal, anything? Week Signal? To come up, because we're actually recording it. So come up so you can get your voice on recording. So don't, be careful what you say. Don't want anything held against you.
Austerity. The beacons are back up. We turned them on. I won't tell you what the problems were, but I'll just tell you which ones are back on. The 2 meter, the 222, the 432, the 902, the 1296, and 10 gigs. So we have pretty good representation at the moment. So the frequencies are posted through the club. So if you need to know what the frequencies are, tune around a little bit. These are not national standards to go by.
All right, if you go to OARC website, you can actually find the frequencies of the beacons are on. They're listed there. All right, AMSAT, Lara, similarities. Come up, John.
Hello, everyone. If you're a Seminole County resident, we really encourage you to come out to the Seminole County Aries Races meeting. It's held at the Sheriff's Department at 100 Esslinger Way. It is the third Thursday of every month at 7:30. In order to get into the buildings, it's a secured site. Go to the front door, there's a phone, talk to the security guard, tell them while you're there. They'll let you in and take you to the elevator to the 3rd floor, the EOC. So 3rd Thursday every month, Seminole Aries. Really encourage you to show up. Thank you.
All right, 2 more. Osceola Aries, don't see anybody. Orange County Aries. The only thing I can tell you right now, our meetings come up not this Thursday, not tomorrow, but next Thursday at 7 o'clock. I don't know yet if it's going to be back at the Orange County EOC or if it's going to be just a Zoom meeting only. If you're interested in attending either way, just send me an email and I will make sure that you find out where it's at, either by or by Zoom or at the EOC. It all depends if they are still in recovery mode with Hurricane Ian, as they've been doing for the past couple, ever since the hurricane passed. We haven't been able to hold a meeting there because of it, so they're still been activated, even at a level 2, but sometimes they still work into the night or on weekends. So sometimes it's not available. Ed? I'm sorry.
Any members of Antique Wireless Association here?
All right. All right, that's all I have for right now. We'll take our break. We'll come back at say, I'm sorry.
Besides donuts, today we have a little treat. There's some freeze-dried ice cream sandwich pieces over there courtesy of Mike Beers. So if you want to try them, they're over there near the donuts.
All right, before the rush, 15 minutes, we'll be back about, well, say by 8:15, we'll come back for the presentation. Hey, Ed, all ready? All right, folks. In front of the speaker again. We're going to get started.
1, 2.
Okay, good evening. Glad to see you're still here. Yeah. And it's my privilege to introduce to you our section manager, Scott Roberts, KK4 ECR. And Scott's not a stranger to us. He's got his technician license in 2011, but came to Hamcation in 2012 to pass his general exam. And he came back again in 2013 to pass his extra class license. So he's been here before, and we're glad to see that he's back. Since getting his license, he's become part of several great groups and organizations. The Clay County Aries, he was Assistant Emergency Coordinator and Public Information Officer. Orange Park Amateur Radio Club, in 2017, the Vice President and Public Information Officer. Maritime Mobile Service Net as Net Control Operator. Member of ARRL Public Relations Committee. Jacksonville Skywarn Association 2017 President. He regularly checks into eCarsNet and SouthCarsNet. He monitors DMR Talk Group 3100, 93, Florida State, FCDMR. And now he's our section manager for ARRL North Florida section. Scott, thank you.
All right, so since Ed did all my presentation, any questions? Oh, okay, no, sorry. I'm glad to be here tonight. I was told that when I walked in the door, I've done more than previous section managers, so man, I thought I was doing good. Anyways, I'm really glad to be here tonight. I did get my license in 2011, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But before I begin, I've got a presentation I want to make. So, Mike, I need you to come up here. Yeah, your Mike. Yeah, okay. So, so this presentation, yeah, it's on. It's on. I'll try that one. Okay. So that one's even better. Okay. So this presentation is for Mike, but it's not just for Mike. It's for Mike and all of the Hamcation team. So I know that when COVID hit, things shut down, and it was kind of challenging with what was going to happen with what was going to happen after COVID and what it was going to take to get things ramped up. And Mike, you and your team did a phenomenal job. I know, man, it's his electric personality, and so that may be what it is. This one. I wanted just to give a little bit of appreciation and just the certificate of merit from the ARRL certificate of merit to Mike Cawley in recognition for your outstanding service and appreciation for everything that you do and your team does for Hamcation. So Mike, thanks very much. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started and try not to get too much feedback in this thing. The speakers are turned on. I don't know. Turn me down just a little bit. Let's see. All right. If I have to, I'll just yell. We'll get through this. All right. So we'll have a little fun here on this day, November 2nd. So I'm sure that some of you personally can go through some of these dates and were there, knew who was involved, whatever. Anyways, we'll just start with a few of these and see what you think. 1936. Anybody here in 1936? Please, thank you. Okay, all right. 1936, the BBC launched its first television channel. So just some interesting facts about what happened in history. None of these, well, almost none of these have to do with amateur radio. So I couldn't find anything impressive that happened on November 2nd, but we'll pull these dates anyways. Next, 1947, Howard Howard Hughes flies the Spruce Goose. Anybody on that plane with him? I got a hand over here. Okay, there we go. All right, all right. 1948, Harry Truman won the presidential election. So I'm sure we're getting a little closer into a few. Anybody? I got one. Okay, I got one. All right, here we go. This one I know. 1975, Jimmy Carter won the presidential election and became our president. 1988, this one hits home to me because I'm in IT for my real profession. Computer science student Robert Morris introduced the first worm onto the internet, brought down 6,000 computers, brought them completely to a halt. So I remember that day. I remember when it happened. What's that? Yeah, it did. 2000, first resident crew of 1 American and 2 Russians arrived on the ISS. Remember that one as well. A lot of us should remember that one. It wasn't that long ago. All right, and then this one has to do with amateur radio. In 2022, section manager Scott Roberts visits the Orlando Amateur Radio Club. I mean, that ought to be something memorable. All right, hopefully that, you know. So anyways, who is this section manager? All right. Now, Ed did a very eloquent job of giving you all this information. So there it is again in very small print. But I was licensed in 2011. That test I took in Orange Park, Florida. And then in 2012 at Hamcation, I got my general license. 2013 at Hamcation, I got my amateur extra license. I was telling people I took the test in the building over here, took it on paper with pencil and abacus, and I don't know what else they used back then. So anyways, but I came and took it with my best friend and one of my business partners, Joe Bassett, W1WCN. And I got done with my test and I thought, I'll wait for him. They graded my test, said, great, you passed. I got just enough to get my extra license, which is all I cared about, because it doesn't matter if you get a pass or a fail. If it's pass, you passed. And it's all I was worried about. So I didn't really care how many I got right or wrong. But we waited and waited and waited. Joe finished his test. We waited. And Proctor came out and said, Mr. Bassett, I'm sorry it's taking so long. We've had to recheck your test a few times, and we had to even have our checkers have somebody check their work to make sure that this was right. He thought for sure that he failed and did terrible. They said, you got 100%. So anyways, he got 100%. Now, this is the same man that a few years or so later, we worked with the Scouts, and we were teaching a class for a merit badge, and we had a dipole antenna up. We'd set up a 10 by 10 tent. We were inside the tent. The kids were keying up the microphone, and they were, oh, man, every time they keyed up the mic, Mr. Bassett, Mr. Roberts, it feels like I'm getting bit by ants. And we're looking, there's no ants on there. The next kid would get up, oh, man, what's going on? Joe got up and keyed up the mic. He said, man, what is going on? And I stepped out of the tent and looked up, went, dope, RF burn. We were right up underneath that antenna, and it was coming, RF was coming into the microphone. He got 100 on his extra. So just remember that if anybody ever gets 100 on their extra, keep an eye on them. They're trouble. But anyways, I have held several positions. I love amateur radio. I love the hobby side of it, and I love the emergency communication side of it. So when I was asked to run as the Northern Florida section manager, I thought about it a little bit, and I wasn't going to do it. No one else was going to run, and I got a few phone calls that said, please, please, please run. So I went, okay, I'll throw my hat in the ring, and no one else did. So that was a kind of scary thing at the moment, because when no one else throws their hat in the ring, there's a reason for it. So I got by default, but I'm really glad that I did, and I enjoy it, and I have fun coming out to these meetings and getting a chance to meet you and let you meet me, and hopefully we can get a relationship where we can work together ongoing. So the mission of ARRL is to advance the art, science, and this word is important, enjoyment of amateur radio. We've gotten to a point in a lot of clubs and in a lot of organizations where amateur radio is not fun anymore. And my goal, and not just mine, but our section emergency coordinator, ARC, along with many of our club presidents, ECs, AECs, is to put the enjoyment back in amateur radio. And that is a very, very strong, hard, fast goal of the ARRL, and that is make our hobby as enjoyable now as it was back in the old days, and if I can use that term. So we want it to be a lot of fun. And amateur radio can be a lot of fun. It can be fun with things like Hamcation. It can be fun with things like Field Day, Winter Field Day, all the different events and different things that the clubs and areas groups participate in, races, bike rides. I just finished a whole weekend with the MS Society. We did a race from Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra Beach down to Daytona on the first day and Daytona back on the second day. And it was a blast. We had a lot of fun. So that's what we want to do. We want to put that back into amateur radio. ARRL has 5 pillars. Now, years ago, it was only 4 pillars. They added one to it. Public service, we want to serve the public. That's why part of why some of us got our license. That's why I got my license. I wanted to serve the public, and that was a good way to do it. Advocacy, the ARRL advocates for us to the FCC, to the government about HOAs and about where we can put our antennas, what frequencies we can use. That's one of the pillars that they're founded on. The other one is education. Through events like Hamcation, where they teach different things, through the testing sessions and things like you guys do every month, through all kinds of different ways to educate the public about amateur radio. Technology. Technology has become a major part of amateur radio, whether it's the little Raspberry Pis, whether it's the Signal Link sound devices, whether it's the new technology in radios, all the solid state stuff. There's, no tubes in amps hardly anymore when you buy a newer one. All of the technology. And so ARRL is one of their things. They've got a whole team that all they do is work on this new technology and how it can interact and how it can interface with amateur radio. And then, of course, membership. And so out of this group here, and this is just a query, how many of you are a member of ARRL? Okay, we're at about 50, a little over 50%. That's good, that's good. How many of you are not a member because it's too expensive? Costs too much? Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. And there are a lot of other reasons, but the main reason we usually hear is it's too expensive. But for $49 a year, $49.95 a year, that's only, a couple cups of coffee nowadays. Coffees are pretty expensive, especially if you go to Starbucks. But I would encourage you to become a member of ARRL, and if you're not a member, and the reason is because they do all of this for us. And if you've got a question or a problem with your HOA, or you've got a problem with cooperating with, whatever, somebody complains about it, they'll go to bat for you and they'll help you out with it. So if you have any questions about that, we can talk about that afterwards. All right, so this is why you wanted me here tonight. You want to find out what I'm going to do, where we're going with our section. So we're going to spend the next little bit. I think you said 3 hours, right? Okay, good. All right. So no, I promise it won't be. So the first one is I want to change our overall mindset. All right, as amateur radio operators, our overall mindset. Now, from what I've seen tonight and what I've heard and what I've seen in the past, I'm preaching to the choir. All right. So this doesn't apply to most everybody here. However, I have been to clubs that it does apply to. So bear with me a little bit. You'll understand as we go through. So if you read any of the articles that I write or hear me speak, you're going to hear me say, we are guests. That is an underlying statement that I use everywhere I go. How many Aries members do we have in the room? All right, we've got a few, okay? This applies to you. It applies to all of us, but it really applies to the Aries members a lot more. Aries and races and such. So when we go into an EOC or we go into, we're supporting a race or a run or whatever, we're supporting something, we're a guest for that served agency. We may be professionals at what we do, but we are amateur radio operators, all right? That word amateur is there for a reason, all right? They're the professionals. They're paid for what they do, all right? So when we go into an EOC or we show up at a race to support a race, it's a sweet spot somewhere. We're a guest. We're to serve them. We're not to tell them how to run their show. We do whatever they want us to do. Example of that is about, I guess it was 2016, 15 or 16, when Hurricane Matthew threatened the East Coast, and it looked like it was gonna come on land in the Jacksonville area. We activated at our EOC. I go to the EOC, and we have members go to the different shelters around, and we activate and operate at the shelters. I was at the EOC, and the emergency manager came in and had said that, hey, what are we supposed to do? And I looked at him and said, no, we're here to do what you want us to do. And he said, okay, great. And he walked out of the room. So about an hour later, he came in and he said, hey, we're really short on people answering phones. Could you leave this room and go answer some phones? Boom, absolutely. It's his shop. We're a guest. So whenever we're operating anywhere, you got to remember that we're guests. So enough on that one. Change our vocabulary a little bit. Make it a little bit more understandable. A lot of times, and I have a bad habit of it. I get up in front of our group when we're talking and I'll say, oh yeah, QST and ARRL and AEC and SM, and people are like, what? So I'm going to change some of our vocabulary. So some of the vocabulary that we use now, we use ham radio, we use licensing, book, QST, radio club, member. When we use all these words and we know what they mean, we know what they stand for, we know why we use them, but what if we change it a little bit? So instead of ham radio, it's radio communications. People understand that a little bit better. So if you're talking to somebody, they say, what do you do? I'm a ham radio operator. I deal with radio communications. Well, now they understand that. Instead of book, I'm reading a book. No, I'm learning more about my hobby. Use the word learning. Instead of radio club, we're a community. And we want people to realize that we're not just a club. They feel like they can join clubs all day long. No, we're a community. So we want them to join our community. Licensing. That scares some people. You start talking to people about getting a license. No. Oh, and this one's kind of a more humorous one, but radioactive. All right. Involved, engaged. Hey, yes, you got to get a license. You need to get that license. You can become engaged. You're engaged in our community. Instead of QST, people don't understand what that is until they've been licensed for a little bit. It's content that you can read about our hobby. It just, it's little things just to make it a little bit easier. And then member volunteer. That one to me is interchangeable. Hello. To me, that's interchangeable. Member volunteer. We are volunteers. We want our people to realize that we're volunteers, and that helps out a lot. So change the overall mindset, but we want to build better relationships inside of our counties. Now, again, this one is really, really, really preaching to the choir, because you guys here in Orlando have done this. You've got great relationships with your counties, with the people here at the fairgrounds. You had great relationships with the served agencies that we support. All of that, you've got those. So the reason I say that is because we can't serve outside of our counties very well if we're not serving inside of our counties very well. A lot of our counties, and I will not mention any county names, but if you've been around long enough, you know which ones I'm talking about, are more worried about serving outside of our county or outside of their county than they are serving inside of their county. Oh, if this hurricane hits, we've got to be ready to deploy. Well, what's going to happen with your county? And so we need to build those relationships inside of our county so that we can serve inside of our county, so that when the time does come that we do need to serve outside of our county, we can do that because we've already got the relationships and we've got the people in place in our county that can do that. We need to increase our knowledge of our hobby. It's one thing to try to teach people about our hobby, but we need to increase our knowledge. We need to be working on us and our hobby every single day. Learn something new every day. Try something new. Take on a new part of the hobby. Look at it. I started listening to all these different bands that you guys have repeaters for in here going, wow, this is pretty good. I need to move here so I can try some of this stuff because we don't have that where I'm at. So it's awesome. But if you're not used to using 220, find somebody with a radio that you can do 220. Okay, hopefully this works. All right, see if I can quit cutting out now. We'll see if it works. So anyways, we need to increase the knowledge of our hobby, not just everybody else's knowledge. When a QST magazine or a newsletter comes out, or somebody sends out an email for your group about a new post, spend the time to read it and increase your knowledge. All right, increase the interest of amateur radio in each of our counties. So not just our knowledge, but then once you have increased your knowledge, increase the knowledge of everybody else. So you can't miss my pickup truck. So I'm sitting out here. I've got 3 antennas. I've got 3 magnets with my call sign that says radio communications on it. And it doesn't matter where I drive. Everybody knows who I am. When I drive around in our county or one of our adjacent counties, people recognize me. I did the Bike MS event last weekend. The police departments that we do remember my vehicle from last year. All right, so it's noticeable. But by doing that, I'm increasing the knowledge of people in my county, because people will pull through the parking lot and they'll say, hey, what is that? What communications? What's amateur radio? And I get to talk to people about it. We've had people visit our club and join and get their license because they saw my truck on the road. So we need to increase the interest of amateur radio in each of our counties. And then we need to promote our hobby to the younger generations. So I can start saying this now because I'm starting to get, I'm older than 50. So we're not going to be here forever. And if we don't get younger people involved in our hobby, the hobby's going to eventually die out because there's no new blood coming into the hobby. So we've got to work with the Boy Scouts. We've got to work with the young kids and teach them and get them licensed and get them interested in the electronic part of it and building kits and things like that. We need to work at doing that to keep the hobby going. So the stats for September 2022, the Northern Florida section has 3,672 full members. We've got almost 200 associate members, which were down 0.5% from August of last year. Whoops, that's not right. It's September of last year. We're down by 0.5%. I forgot to update the graphic. So in the Southeast Division, we've got 14,400 members. All right. That number ought to be much higher. The Northern Florida section should be much higher in members. I forget the number of licenses that are in the Northern Florida section, but it's about 2.5 times of that. There's almost 10,000 licensed amateurs in the Northern Florida section. Not all of them are members of ARRL. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to start promoting the hobby to them and getting them to join. You get a new ham that becomes a member of ARRL and they get a free magazine as part of their membership. They can pick which one they want. I don't know if you all know this, but you know you can get one of the magazines mailed to your house paper, but if you download the app onto your tablet or computer, you can read all of the magazines that ARRL has every month and every quarter. So if you're not doing that, that's definitely a benefit. So you don't get just one magazine, but you get all 4 of them. You get QST, On the Air, QEX, and NCJ. So you know, make sure that you're looking through all those when they come out, because there's always some good articles. My favorites are actually the 3. The contest journal doesn't do a lot for me. I do some contesting, but I'm not overly excited about it, but the other three I read every time they come out because they're definitely worth the articles. The On the Air is more for newer hams, but even for us hams that have had our license for a while, there's some good information in them. So, all right. Oh, here we go. 3 million radio amateurs, 750,000 in the U.S., 30,000 new hams per year. That's a great number. It really is. So we need to keep that number of new hams coming in, but we also need to help make that younger hams coming in. All right. So how do we promote our hobby? Again, I'm preaching to the choir because you guys do a lot of this stuff, but one of them is build a booth. So have a booth at every ham fest you can possibly have a booth at. Get a booth put together, have some kind of information about your club or your organization. Hold workshops. I know you guys do that. You do that at Hamcation, but I know that you guys do it all throughout the year, teaching the kids how to solder and how to put kits together, and they can walk out of there with something that they've built. Another way to promote your hobby is look for club grants and find somebody who knows how to write a grant or write a grant request, and you can get money for your club. That helps build your club and helps you get things and put things together. Again, these are things that you guys already do, but build relationships with your local media. This is super, super, super important. I spent 6 years as the public information coordinator for the Northern Florida section, and I am the public information officer for our county. I love dealing with the local media, especially after their good relationships are built, because at some point in time, they'll start calling you instead of you calling them. When Hurricane Michael hit the Panhandle, there were calls from the Panhandle that came through and got picked up by the Duval County EOC amateur radio operators. And they responded, passed information off to the state EOC. I found out about it. I did a quick email, and I did a press release and emails to all of our media and said, hey, this happened. Before I could hit the send button on it, my phone rang. And it was one of the local stations, News for Jacks. They called and said, hey, we heard this happen. I'm like, man, I just heard that it happened. How did you guys hear about it? They said, we got a phone call. We want to come out and interview you. I'm like, all right, fine. They came out to where I work. They interviewed me sitting in my truck. We made a contact with an amateur radio operator that was in the Panhandle in the affected area. We were able to relay some information right there on the spot to the state EOC, and they got it all on video, and they called us. So build those good relationships with your media. You don't have to be the PIO. You don't have to be the club president. You just have to be willing to talk to somebody and get to know somebody in the local media that is willing to have coffee with you. Tell them about your group, about your organization, and get them interested in what you do so that when you email them about an event, they'll come out, they'll write about it, they'll take pictures, they'll do something about it. Personal email messages to them is the best way to do it. I was talking earlier, I don't like press releases. I really don't. To me, they're boring. That's a good, who said that? Boring. They're boring, all right? The media gets so many press releases that when another one hits their email, it gets filed on the bottom of the pile. But when you send a personal email to somebody in the media, whether they know you or not, they read it because it's to them. It's not a press release. It's not to the general public. It's to them. So personal emails do the best. You can do press releases for events right after you do those personal emails. All right. So here's a few more goals that we have. I want to appoint a total of 4 assistant section managers. We've got 3 of the 4 done. The western part of the section, Dustin Stewart. I don't have anybody for the middle part of the section yet. The eastern part of the section, Helen Strawn. Helen is the section traffic manager. Helen is a wonderful lady. She's well known here at Hamcation because she comes out and sets up a booth almost every year. So she does a great job and is a great help to us in the section. And then I've got an assistant, that's a tough one, Assistant Section Manager for Training, Joe Bassett, W1WCN. Joe and I are business partners, and we're best of friends. We met the first time that we both went to an amateur radio club meeting up in Clay County. He and I came down, we come down every year to Orlando together. And Joe is an amazing trainer for our county. And he's going to be a great asset to the section. So if you've got any questions about what can we train on, what material do you have on this particular topic, get a hold of Joe. You can send me an email, and I can get you in contact with Joe. He'll be more than happy to help you out. He's even willing to do Zoom. If he can't travel to a meeting, he'll Zoom in and help you with training if you would like help with training. We wanted to appoint a public information coordinator to replace what I was doing. We did Jim Bledsoe. Jim is out of Alachua County, but he's got a very extensive background in public relations and is doing a really good job so far. He's scouring all of our counties, finding news information, getting it pushed up to ARRL, and making sure they know about what's going on. We want to appoint section emergency coordinators. We haven't done assistant section emergency coordinators. We haven't done so yet. OARC is still looking. We just haven't found the right fit. We've had a couple people that we've talked to, but it just hasn't been the right fit for what we're looking for. And this is probably one of the more important ones. We want to put as much importance and as much emphasis on local amateur radio clubs as we do on areas organizations. One of the things that I've heard more than anything in the last couple of months is ARRL doesn't care about the club. All they care about is Aries, which is not a true statement. However, in our section, it became that. And so what we're looking at doing is, I don't care if you're a club or if you're an Aries organization, if you're a races organization, if you're a group of 5 people who like amateur radio. You're all amateur radio operators. And we want to put the same importance on every one of that as we do the next one. So it takes all of us. There's every club, every Aries group has a wide variety of members. You get your members who are super gung-ho, they're at everything. Man, they come out and they set up the biggest antenna at field day. They bring their own equipment. They've got generators and batteries, and you've got those guys who are all in. They're all, and it doesn't matter if you come to field day and don't have any equipment, you can use theirs. All right? You get those. You get those who are, I'll come around when I can. Maybe I'll get on the radio. Maybe I won't. And then you get those who are, well, I got my license and I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to do anything, or maybe I'll come to a meeting once in a while. But you know what? Every one of those is just as important as the next one. So we need all of those. All right. So, questions? I couldn't have covered all of it, I know, but I got a question right here. Space operations. So, like you're talking to the International Space Station, things like that. That's all part of the hobby, and I think it's great. I know that I think they've stopped taking applications for organizations talking to the space station for the next year. But I still think that all of it is part of the hobby, whether it's UHF, VHF, HF, talking to the International Space Station, moon bouncing off of satellites. I've tried doing I've not done the International Space Station yet, but it's not because I haven't tried. I haven't done moon bounce, but all of that is important, and it's all part of the hobby. And it is all part of communications. And, when you come down to it, we're communicators who happen to use amateur radio. So, if it's using amateur radio on 2 meter, 440, 220, 10 meter, it doesn't matter, 400 gigahertz, wherever we can use amateur radio, it's all part of it. So space communications is definitely definitely in. What other questions do we have? Yes. If you can what? Sure.
Okay, I think it's working. We're losing frequencies on the UHF and microwave frequencies. And if we don't have frequencies, we don't have amateur radio. Guess what? They're after 10 gigs now. It's the most popular, highest frequency people get on. You get above 10 gigs, you can't hardly put equipment together. It's out of your hands. The parts are too small. The machine works too small. 10 gigs is a very popular band. It's going to be the top band on microwave for years and years. And they're making moves to take those frequencies away. They've already taken 3 gigs away. 3 gigs was going to be the frequency we're going to use for mesh for emergencies. It was one of the clear frequencies we had, and it's gone now. So if the future, a lot of the future is in the microwave, and they're taking the frequencies away from us, and it's really hurting a lot of people that look at the technical part of this and enjoy the technical part, and there's not going to be frequencies to be involved with.
And that's why it's important that we do use our radios. When a repeater sits dormant, that means a frequency's dormant. And if the FCC listens to that, why do we give them those frequencies? They're not using them. They're on loan to us anyways. Now they originally gave them to us because, they didn't work. They couldn't use them, but, they can very well take them back. So good group tonight. So my contact information is up here on the screen. It's up here on these 2 cards. If you come up and scan the one that's got my name on it, it's got a QR code. It'll pull up a digital business card that's got my email address, my phone number. I use Hamcation Hotline. I mean, see, now you got me doing it. It's Ham Shack Hotline, and I've got an extension there, and so you can get a hold of me. And I've got a couple of mini band plans up here that you need a magnifying glass and someone to hold it 10 feet away from you to be able to read, but you can feel free to pick one of those up. And I got a couple pens up here and a couple stickers. Feel free to come up. I'll hang around for a little bit, but I got a few minutes. I do need to jump in the vehicle because I've got to get on another call on my way back to Jacksonville, and my wife would like to see me before 3 a.m. So I'm gonna, at least that's what she said when I came in. So thank you guys for letting me come out. Hopefully this has helped. If you do have any direct questions for me, like I said, I'll hang around for a few minutes as soon as we're finished and let you ask those questions. But feel free to call me on the phone. Feel free to email me, text. I respond to text faster than I do phone calls because sometimes I'm in meetings and I can't answer the phone, but I'll be glad. I tell people I have an open email policy. So I can have an open door policy, but you've got to drive up 2.5 hours. So, you're more than welcome to do that. But again, thank you for letting me come out. I appreciate it. And I hope the next couple of years we can make some changes in our section.
All right. Thank you, Scott. And we got a little work to do on figuring out what this audio issue is. So just a reminder before we go into our drawing, the Shriners Tailgate is this weekend. All right. Please come out and support them. It's only $5 general admission or $7 if you want to sell from your trunk. Includes 1 general admission. So going through your amateur radio gear at the house, you go, you know what? I don't need this anymore. Hey, you got an opportunity to sell it this weekend. All right. So we support all the other tailgates and stuff out there and ham fests that are out there around the state, Southeast, and around the country, and of course around the world. So it takes an effort from all of us to keep amateur radio and ham fest going. So we look forward to it. All right, let me go into our prize drawings tonight. We have 3 different items tonight. Something different this evening. Most of you guys might have heard of Lido Radio, okay, or Lido mounts, okay. This is a automobile cup holder mount. It's a starter part. Lido has a lot of different modules that you could add to this to put your radio on, your microphone, whatever, or create a stack if you wish. So this is kind of gets you started. Everybody has different radios. They have a lot of different mounts. So if I was to go out and get a full mount for somebody, you might not have that radio. So it's kind of useless. But this will get you started in creating that. Who can't use a flashlight? Or as it was presented to me, who can't use a limited edition ham HRO flashlight? Or how many of you guys drink coffee or drink a cold beverage? How about an HRO Yeti cup? Okay, just some different things this month. All right. So you ready? First one. And again, if you win, if you're the winner, you pick what you want. Unfortunately, the last person will have to take the last item.
Everybody get a ticket? Anybody need a ticket? You need a ticket? Hold on. Jim needs a ticket. Jim. Huh? So you just want me to hold this one in my hand and to say I pulled it? Come on, I don't have all night. I need the one that goes in the jar. I don't care about the other one. How many tickets do you have? Put them in there. I'll shake them up. And we're ready. And the first ticket is last 3, 4, 4, 9. Like we got a winner. And all right, next up, got a choice of a Yeti cup or a flashlight. And this one's going to be lower. 4, 3, 1. And it's Gil. And last going to be a Yeti cup. Oh, and we're going to go even lower. 4, 2, 1. There you go. All right. And also in the back, there's some QSTs and CQ magazines. Please take them with you. They're a collection over the last 6 months or so of mine. I've already read them, so if you want to read some interesting amateur radio stuff, especially for the new hams in here, it's interesting stuff in there.
And they're free. All right, real quick. Our next, just remember, we will not have a meeting next month. We have a Christmas party. So there is no meeting next month. We do have the Christmas party. Anna still has tickets available. We send out the email that you can purchase them online. Anna will give you your ticket when you arrive at the Christmas party at that point. We don't sell Christmas party tickets at the gate or at the door. All right, Wednesday, January the 4th of 2023 at 7:30 here at the fairgrounds is our next meeting. And Dan Romanchik KB6NU, Kilo Bravo 6 November uniform of ARDC grant making is going to be doing a presentation. Talking about grants earlier. In January, we'll be talking about grants. All right. So that's it. See you guys hopefully at the Christmas party. If not, have a happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.